Hello, K4. Today I'm going to read Hooray for Wodney Wat. But first we're going to talk about the book. Sometimes children and even adults have a hard time pronouncing letters correctly, and that's what our story is about today. The character in our story cannot pronounce R correctly. What is the sound that R says? So if the word was Rodney, he would say Wodney because he can't pronounce his R's. Or if he would say rat, he would say wat because he just can't pronounce his R's correctly. Our story today is silly and funny and mean and sad. There's all kinds of emotions in this story. Let's find out what it's about, okay? Hooray for Wodney Wat by Helen Lester, illustrated by Lynn Munsinger. Poor Wodney Wat. His real name was Rodney Rat, but he could not pronounce his R's. And to make matters worse, he was a rodent, a wodent. What's your name, Rodney? Asked the other children who were teasing him. Wodney Wat, he whispered. And what's another name for bunny? They asked, laughing. Wabbit, he whispered. And how does a train travel? They asked, winking at each other. A twain travels on twain tracks, said Rodney miserably. Look at the other kids are laughing and teasing him. And the person they're teasing feels horrible. He's so sad. He's miserable. All of this teasing day in and day out has made Rodney the shyest rodent in his elementary school. His squeak can barely be heard in class. Look at his teacher's got to hold her ear so she can hear him. And he gnaws his lunch alone. Look at all the rest of them are all together and he's all by himself. And while the other rodents scurry and scooted at recess, Rodney hid himself inside his jacket. Oh, how sad. Some of you hid inside your jackets, but that's because you were being silly. And then one day, as the rodents were taking turns doing wheelies, see their wheel? A new rodent, a very large rodent, barged into the classroom and announced, "My name is Carmela Cabara. I'm bigger than any of you. I'm meaner than any of you. And I'm smarter than any of you." And then she said, "So there." Look at, she's already stepping on somebody's toe. She likes to be mean, I guess. With that, she accidentally, on purpose, elbowed an ear. She poked somebody with her elbow in the ear. She bumped into 2 noses, and she stepped on 3 tails. And then she flopped down on her desk. Are you supposed to sit that way in school? No. Fur prickled in fear throughout the classroom. Everybody's afraid. She sure was bigger than any of them. She sure looked meaner than any of them. Was she smarter than any of them? "What is 2 plus 2? Asked Miss Fuzzleworth, the teacher. "4, yelled Carmela, without even bothering to raise her hand. "And furthermore," she said, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, and 243 plus 125 is 368. Later, when Miss Fuzzleworth asked, "What's the capital of?" Carmela interrupted again. "New York, Albany, population 295,594. And during science, in answer to the question, what part of a plant grows under the ground, Carmela danced on her desk and shouted, "Root, root, rooty toot toot." Yep, thought all the other rodents. She is smarter than we are. And they all felt very, very uncomfortable. That afternoon, every afternoon, just before the final recess, Miss Fuzzleworth drew a name from her hat to see who would be the leader for their favorite game, Simon says. She scrunched her eyes closed and she jiggled her hat. Would it be Hairy Hamster? Minnie Feet Mouse? Grizzle Frizzle Guinea Pig? Could it be Big, Mean, Smart Carmela Gabara? Miss Frizzleworth's paw reached in and pulled out the names. Rodney Wat. The bell rang. There was a wild scurry for the door. Carmela Gabara was the first one to the playground, trampling over everybody that was in her way. Oh my, she even hurt the teacher. Not good. To Rodney, she looked especially scary. What would she do when she heard him speak? Would she breathe Carmela breath on him? Would she tie him up with his own tail? Would she pounce on him? The tiny, trembling leader of the game stood before the eager players. His head was inside his jacket, and he squeaked, "Wodney Wat says weed the sign." Rodney Rat says read the sign. While the others understood what he said and began to read PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents, Carmela, who didn't understand him, started pulling up weeds around the sign because she thought he said weed, pull up weeds. She was wildly flinging them hither and yon till she was clear up to her teeth in dirt. The other rodents started to smile. Wodney says, "Wrap your paws around your head." He peeked a little out of his jacket and saw, whap, whap, whappity, slappity, whap. Carmela was wrapping her paws around her head so hard she became dizzy. She gave herself a headache and she had to sit down. The other rodents started to giggle. She doesn't understand Rodney's talking, does she? Wodney says, "Play wing around the wosy." See what the others are doing? They're playing ring around the rosy. Carmela put her arms out like wings and made an airplane noise. Wing around the wosy? What is a rosy? Where is that rosy? Carmela wondered. By now, Rodney's voice was stronger and his head was entirely out of his jacket. "Wake the leaves," Rodney said. Nobody moved. Wodney says, "Wake the leaves." While Harry, Minnie Feet, Grizzle Frizz, and the others started raking, Carmela grabbed one leaf and yelled, "Wake up!" She snatched another leaf and said, "Come on, get up, up," and another, "Rise and shine," and to another, "Boo!" By now, all the other rodents were squealing with laughter, all but Carmela, who frowned. "Silly leaves, they won't wake up." And why was everyone laughing at her? In a voice so strong, Rodney had to cover his own ears. Rodney called out, "Wodney says go west." The rodents collapsed in a big heap for a little rest. go west. Carmela, feeling very smart that she would tell directions by the sun, said, "All right, I shall go west." And then she said, "So there." And away she went, stomping west. Forever she was gone. And from that day on, the students at PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents never teased Wodney again. He was their hero. "Hooray for Wodney Wat!" they cried. "Woot, woot, wooty toot toot." Isn't that a fun story? Their sadness, they were mean, but in the end, everybody was kind and happy. We need to always be kind to others. That's what the Bible says. Be ye kind one to another. Have a good day. Be kind to your brother and sister. Be kind to mommy and daddy. I love you. See you later, alligators.